Hello everyone. My name is Teresa. I'm 46 years old now, and I live on the East Coast of the United States, not far from where I grew up. I have a career I genuinely love, a life that feels full, and a calm confidence I didn't have when I was younger. I travel often for work, lecture at universities, and spend a lot of time helping people understand complex ideas without making them feel small or stupid. That last part matters, more than you might think. In my professional world, I've become known for breaking down intricate topics like environmental policy or social dynamics into relatable narratives. It's rewarding to see the light bulb moments in people's eyes, especially when they've felt intimidated by the subject before. Over the years, I've published articles, spoken at conferences, and even mentored young professionals navigating their own paths. This fulfillment didn't come overnight. It was built on lessons learned the hard way, from both triumphs and heartbreaks. Looking back, I realize how much my past experiences shaped this confidence. The younger me was more tentative, always second-guessing decisions and seeking validation from others. Now I trust my instincts implicitly, a skill honed through trials that tested my resilience. It's liberating to stand in a room full of experts and know that my voice carries weight, not because of titles, but because of the authenticity I bring. But beneath this polished exterior lies a history of hidden scars, ones that occasionally surface in quiet moments of reflection. I've learned to channel those memories into fuel for my advocacy work, speaking out on issues like ethical conduct in academia and personal empowerment. Colleagues often seek my advice, unaware that my wisdom stems from a dramatic betrayal that nearly derailed my life. Recently, I've taken on a mentee named Sophia, a bright young woman in her 20s, reminding me so much of my former self. Through our sessions, I subtly weave in tales from my past, hoping to spare her the pitfalls I endured. It's therapeutic, turning old wounds into tools for healing others. Yet, even now, whispers from that era echo, old acquaintances reaching out with apologies or regrets, forcing me to confront how interconnected our lives remain. It's a reminder that closure is never absolute, but rather an ongoing negotiation with the past. When people meet me now, they usually assume I've always been this settled, this self-assured. They don't see the version of me in my early 20s who believed love required endurance, patience, and a willingness to bend. They don't see the girl who drove 95 miles every weekend because she thought effort proved commitment. And they definitely don't see the quiet fury that once taught me the value of letting people face the consequences of their own choices. Friends and colleagues often comment on my poise during high-stakes presentations or negotiations, unaware of the inner turmoil I once carried. That girl from 2 decades ago would overanalyze every interaction, fearing rejection or inadequacy. Today, I embrace imperfections as part of the human experience, a perspective that allows me to connect deeply with others. This evolution wasn't linear. It involved shedding layers of naivety and building armor from wisdom. The stories I share in lectures often draw from personal anecdotes, anonymized of course, to illustrate points about growth and accountability. It's in those moments that I feel the full circle of my journey, turning pain into purpose. However, there are nights when insomnia strikes, and I replay the dramatic confrontations that defined my youth, wondering if I could have foreseen the twists. Introducing characters like my best friend Lena, who stood by me through it all, adds layers to the narrative I rarely share publicly. Her unwavering support was a lifeline amid the chaos. In professional circles, I've encountered skeptics who dismiss my success as luck, ignorant of the calculated risks I took post-heartbreak. It fuels my drive to mentor others, like my colleague Marcus, whose own career setbacks mirror mine, allowing me to offer guidance born from experience. The quiet fury, it's evolved into a strategic calm, but occasionally flares when injustice appears, reminding me that some battles are worth reigniting for the greater good. This story started more than 20 years ago, back when I was still in college and thought I knew how life worked. I didn't, but I was about to learn. College life was a whirlwind of late-night study sessions, part-time jobs, and forging friendships that felt eternal. I majored in communications, drawn to the power of words and stories, even as I juggled uncertainties about my future. Those years were formative, filled with experimentation and self-discovery, setting the stage for the unexpected twists ahead. Amid the chaos of exams and social events, I held on to idealistic views of relationships, influenced by rom-coms and heartfelt conversations with roommates. Little did I know that real life would soon deliver a crash course in betrayal and resilience, reshaping my worldview forever. Enter my roommate Carla, a fiery artist who warned me about jumping into relationships too quickly, her own dramatic breakup fresh in mind. Her cynicism clashed with my optimism, creating tension in our shared space that foreshadowed my own turmoil. Then there was Professor Harlan, my mentor in communications, who encouraged my ambitions but cautioned against letting personal life derail them, a piece of advice I'd soon regret ignoring. As the semester progressed, a campus scandal involving a cheating professor added an undercurrent of distrust, making me question loyalties even before my own story unfolded. I met Jake in the late 90s through mutual friends at a low-key gathering that felt completely ordinary at the time. People were sitting on the floor, music playing too softly, cheap beer sweating on coasters. Jake stood out because he spoke with confidence, the kind that comes from believing you're already ahead of the curve. He had recently graduated and had been accepted into a PhD program across the country. He talked about it like it was a foregone conclusion that he'd succeed. The gathering was in a cramped apartment with mismatched furniture and posters peeling from the walls, typical of student life. Conversations flowed freely, touching on everything from politics to pop culture, and Jake's insights on scientific advancements captivated the room. His enthusiasm was infectious, making even mundane topics seem profound. As the night wore on, we found ourselves in a smaller group, sharing laughs and debating ideas late into the evening. Jake's quick wit and depth of knowledge impressed me, hinting at a mind that craved intellectual stimulation. It was refreshing to encounter someone who seemed as driven as I aspired to be. But drama stirred when Jake's ex-girlfriend, Vanessa, crashed the party uninvited, her jealous glares adding tension to the air. She whispered warnings to me about his wandering eye, a twist I dismissed as bitterness at the time. Among the mutual friends was Tom, a laid-back musician who later confessed he'd seen Jake's flirtatious side but stayed silent to avoid conflict. His eventual revelations would add another layer to the betrayal. The evening took a darker turn when a heated argument broke out over academic ethics, foreshadowing the moral dilemmas Jake would soon embody in our relationship. I was younger, still in school, still forming opinions about who I wanted to be. What pulled me in wasn't just his ambition, but how certain he seemed. When you're young, certainty looks like safety. He listened when I spoke, laughed at my jokes, and seemed genuinely interested in my thoughts. It made me feel seen in a way that felt rare back then. In those early interactions, Jake shared stories from his undergrad days, painting pictures of late-night lab sessions and breakthrough moments. His passion for research ignited something in me, encouraging me to open up about my own dreams. We bonded over shared values, like the importance of curiosity and perseverance. Over coffee dates that followed, our connection deepened through vulnerable exchanges about fears and aspirations. His assurance provided a counterbalance to my uncertainties, making me believe in possibilities I hadn't fully considered. It was a heady time, where every conversation felt like a step toward something meaningful. Yet, doubts crept in when Jake casually mentioned past flings, downplaying them with charm that masked red flags. My friend Lena urged caution, sharing her own story of a similar charmer who left her heartbroken. Introducing his charismatic friend Derek, who joined us on outings, added complexity. He seemed overly invested in our budding romance, later revealing ulterior motives tied to academic rivalries. A twist came during a spontaneous road trip with the group, where Jake's possessive streak emerged over a harmless flirtation, hinting at insecurities that would explode later. The timing felt unreal. Completely separate from Jake, I had already been planning a move with friends to a city far away. When we realized my new place would be only about 90 minutes from where he'd be living, it felt cosmic. We joked that the universe was pushing us together. Two people moving 3,000 miles and landing practically side by side. It felt like a sign. Planning the move was exhilarating, filled with packing boxes, road trip playlists, and visions of new adventures. The coincidence of our relocations amplified the excitement, turning what could have been a daunting change into a shared milestone. We spent hours on the phone coordinating details, our laughter echoing across the distance. As departure day approached, the synchronicity seemed almost scripted, reinforcing my belief in fate. Friends teased us about the meant-to-be narrative, and we embraced it, weaving it into our budding romance. It was a foundation built on serendipity, promising a future full of aligned paths. But drama intensified when my parents, skeptical of the long-distance leap, introduced doubts about Jake's intentions, based on rumors from family, friends, and academia. Their interference created familial tension. Carla, my roommate, joined the move but harbored reservations, confiding in me about overhearing Jake's dismissive comments about women in science during a call. A shocking twist, just before leaving, I discovered an old letter from Vanessa warning about Jake's pattern of overlapping relationships, planting seeds of suspicion I tried to ignore. We fell into a relationship quickly and easily. The long phone calls, the shared playlists, the excitement of imagining a future that wasn't limited to where we were now. He talked about research, animals, and academia. I talked about work, school, and my hopes. I didn't feel behind him. I felt alongside him. Those initial months were a blur of discovery, with weekend visits bridging the gap until the move. We explored each other's worlds, from his favorite hiking trails to my beloved bookstores, creating memories that felt timeless. Our conversations delved into dreams, with Jake's academic pursuits inspiring my own career ambitions. As we navigated the logistics of long-distance courtship, small gestures, like surprise care packages, kept the spark alive. We envisioned building a life together, discussing everything from travel plans to professional goals. It was a partnership that felt equitable, fueling my optimism for what lay ahead. However, cracks appeared when Jake canceled plans last minute, citing lab emergencies that Lena later verified were excuses for seeing others. Her detective work added intrigue. Derek reappeared, offering friendly advice that subtly undermined our bond, revealing his crush on me and creating a love triangle subplot. A dramatic fight over commitment levels exposed Jake's reluctance to define us publicly, twisting my heart with uncertainty. Meeting his family deepened that feeling. He had 2 sisters and a younger brother, all warm, funny, and genuinely kind. They welcomed me immediately, no hesitation, no testing. We bonded naturally, and that mattered to me more than I realized at the time. If the people who knew him best were this good, then surely he must be too. The first family dinner was at their cozy home, filled with homemade meals and lively banter. His sisters shared embarrassing childhood stories, drawing me into their circle with ease. Their genuine warmth contrasted with the superficial interactions I'd experienced elsewhere, solidifying my affection for Jake. Subsequent gatherings, like holiday celebrations, further integrated me into their dynamic. We played games, exchanged gifts, and created traditions that felt like my own. This familial acceptance provided a sense of belonging, reinforcing my commitment to the relationship. But tension arose when his sister Elena confided in me about Jake's past indiscretions, including a college scandal she'd covered up, adding a familial conspiracy twist. His brother, Alex, a budding scientist himself, idolized Jake but hinted at jealousy, later playing a role in exposing truths. During a family trip, Vanessa's name surfaced in conversation, revealing she'd been close to the family, heightening my paranoia about lingering ties. Once we moved, the reality of our routine set in. Jake was in school, juggling classes, research, and teaching assistant duties. I was working full-time. That meant I was usually the one driving to him on weekends. 95 miles each way. I didn't resent it. I told myself relationships weren't always perfectly balanced, and this was just a season. Settling into the new city brought its own adjustments, from navigating unfamiliar streets to building a social network. Weekends became sacred escapes, with the drive offering time for reflection and anticipation. Despite the imbalance, I viewed it as temporary, a testament to our dedication. As routine solidified, we adapted to each other's schedules, finding joy in simple rituals like morning coffee or evening walks. The effort I put in felt worthwhile, strengthening our bond amid the demands of adult life. It was a period of growth, where compromise seemed like the key to longevity. Drama escalated when my new boss, Rebecca, a no-nonsense executive, noticed my exhaustion from the drives and warned about codependency, drawing from her own divorce story. Carla, now living nearby, introduced me to her circle, including a charming guy named Liam who flirted innocently, sparking Jake's jealousy from afar. A twist, during one drive, I had a minor car accident due to fatigue, hiding it from Jake to avoid arguments, but it forced me to question the sustainability. He lived in a rented house with 2 roommates, both also in his PhD program. The place was crowded, a little chaotic, and constantly filled with the sounds and smells of animals. Jake bred small animals out of the house, something that was normal for his field. There were cages, tanks, food bins, and paperwork scattered everywhere. It should have felt overwhelming, but I loved it. There was something grounding about caring for living things. The house had a lived-in charm, with scientific posters on walls and equipment tucked in corners. The animals, exotic species requiring meticulous care, added a unique vibrancy to our weekends. I learned about their habitats and behaviors, finding fascination in Jake's expertise. Interacting with the roommates created a communal atmosphere, with shared meals and discussions extending late into the night. Despite the clutter, it felt like a hub of intellect and passion, aligning with my curiosity. This environment deepened my involvement, making me feel like an integral part. But underlying issues surfaced when roommate Paul confessed Jake's illegal sourcing of animals, a secret that could ruin careers, adding ethical drama. The other roommate, Nina, a sharp-witted biologist, became my confidant, sharing stories of Jake's flirtations with students, planting doubts. A shocking incident. One night, animals escaped due to negligence, leading to a frantic recapture that revealed Jake's shortcuts, heightening tensions. Money was tight for all of us, but we made it work. Cheap taco nights, grocery store wine, long conversations sprawled across mismatched furniture. I helped feed animals, clean cages, and organize supplies. I wasn't just visiting. I was participating, building a life alongside him. Budgeting became a creative endeavor, turning limitations into opportunities for ingenuity. We discovered local deals, cooked inventive meals, and cherished low-cost outings like park picnics. These moments fostered intimacy, highlighting our resourcefulness as a couple. Through shared responsibilities, like animal care, I gained insights into Jake's world, appreciating the dedication his field demanded. It was empowering to contribute, transforming visits into collaborative efforts. This phase solidified my investment, envisioning a future of mutual support. Financial strain peaked when Jake borrowed money from me without repayment plans, leading to arguments where Rebecca's advice echoed in my mind. Liam, now a friend, offered financial tips during group hangouts, but Jake accused me of emotional infidelity, twisting innocent interactions into drama. A twist, discovering Jake had hidden savings for personal luxuries exposed his selfishness, eroding trust further. Through Jake, I met people in his department, other graduate students, teaching assistants, faculty members. I made friends quickly, faster than he did, actually. At the time, I didn't think much of it. I liked people, people seemed to like me, and I didn't see that as a threat. I didn't realize yet that Jake did. Department events, like seminars and mixers, introduced me to a vibrant academic community. Conversations flowed effortlessly, with my background sparking interdisciplinary exchanges. These connections enriched my perspective, blending my professional world with Jake's. As friendships formed, I organized casual get-togethers, fostering a sense of camaraderie. Jake's slower integration puzzled me initially, but I attributed it to his focus on studies. Unbeknownst to me, seeds of insecurity were planting, subtly shifting dynamics. Drama unfolded when a rival student, Kyle, spread rumors about Jake's incompetence, using my popularity against him in petty power plays. Nina introduced me to her mentor, Dr. Ellis, who offered me freelance opportunities, inadvertently fueling Jake's resentment as my career advanced. A twist. Overhearing Jake complain to Paul about my overshadowing him revealed deep-seated envy, adding psychological depth to our conflicts. I also met Mary, his advisor's wife, who worked in university administration. She was intelligent, warm, and deeply grounded. When I visited on weekends, we'd sometimes have lunch together. We talked about work, relationships, life. She treated me like an equal, not like someone passing through. That meant a lot to me. Our lunches evolved into meaningful mentorship sessions, where Mary shared wisdom from her career and personal life. Her insights on balancing ambition and well-being resonated deeply, offering guidance I craved. These interactions provided a supportive anchor amid the relationship's ebb and flow. Over time, Mary became a confidant, her empathy and advice bolstering my confidence. She celebrated my achievements, reinforcing my value beyond the relationship. This bond highlighted the importance of external perspectives in navigating personal growth. But secrets emerged when Mary hinted at knowing about Jake's advisor's own affairs, drawing parallels that made me question departmental ethics. Her daughter, Claire, a student in the program, befriended me and later confessed witnessing Jake's indiscretions, adding a generational twist. During a crisis, Mary's intervention in a university dispute showcased her influence, foreshadowing her role in the eventual fallout. For nearly 2 years, things felt steady. Not perfect, but real. We argued occasionally, like all couples do, but nothing felt explosive. I believed we were growing together, until one night quietly rewrote everything. Milestones like anniversaries marked our progress, celebrated with heartfelt gestures despite constraints. We navigated challenges, from academic pressures to work demands, emerging stronger each time. This stability fostered trust, making the impending shift all the more jarring. Reflecting on that period, the subtle cracks, missed calls or distant moods, were dismissed as normal fluctuations. Our shared vision for the future blinded me to underlying issues, maintaining an illusion of harmony. Tensions rose with anonymous notes left at my door, warning of Jake's cheating, which I attributed to Kyle's sabotage at first. Lena's visits brought external drama, as she clashed with Jake over his controlling behavior, heightening household conflicts. A major twist, discovering Jake had plagiarized a paper confided only to Paul, added moral quandaries to our steady phase. It was late, well past midnight. We were lying in bed after sex, the room still warm and dim. I was relaxed, half asleep, when Jake suddenly cleared his throat. His tone shifted, casual but deliberate, like he'd been rehearsing what he was about to say. The silence before his words hung heavy, amplifying the intimacy of the moment. Moonlight filtered through curtains, casting shadows that mirrored the impending emotional storm. His hesitation hinted at the gravity of what was coming, stirring unease in my drowsy state. As he spoke, time seemed to slow, each syllable etching into my memory. The vulnerability of post-intimacy made his delivery feel particularly invasive, transforming a sanctuary into a battleground. Suddenly, the door creaked. Nina had overheard and later confronted him privately, adding a layer of housemaid intrigue. My heart raced as flashbacks to Vanessa's warnings flooded back, twisting the moment into a culmination of ignored signs. In the aftermath, a storm outside raged, symbolizing the internal chaos, as Jake's words hung like thunder. He told me he was concerned about my weight. He said I'd been gaining, and it made it harder for him to feel attracted to me. He didn't mention health. He didn't ask how I felt. He framed it entirely as his problem with my body. His words landed like a punch, stripping away the afterglow and exposing raw insecurities. The lack of empathy in his critique revealed a selfishness I hadn't fully recognized, prioritizing his desires over mutual respect. In that instant, questions flooded my mind. Was this a genuine concern or a veiled excuse? His focus on aesthetics, rather than well-being, underscored a superficiality that clashed with our professed depth. Claire, who I'd confided in earlier, texted me support that night, revealing she'd seen Jake with Meg, escalating the drama. Rebecca's voice echoed in my head, urging independence, as I grappled with the insult. A twist. Jake later admitted this was influenced by Derek's taunts about my appearance, exposing external manipulations. I sat up immediately. My heart started pounding, but my mind went strangely calm. I pointed out that when I came up on weekends, the only food available was crackers and cheese, and if he cared that much, maybe he could stock better options. I wasn't defensive. I was direct. Composing myself, I challenged the hypocrisy, highlighting how environmental factors contributed. My response stemmed from a place of clarity, refusing to internalize his judgment as my flaw. This exchange marked a pivot, awakening me to imbalances I'd overlooked. It was a catalyst for self-reflection, questioning the equity in our dynamic. Lena called the next day, furious on my behalf, plotting ways to expose him, adding vengeful energy. Paul, overhearing the argument, later apologized for not warning me sooner about Jake's patterns. The confrontation led to a temporary makeup, but with underlying suspicion, twisting the plot toward inevitable breakdown. I had gained maybe 10 pounds in 2 years. Maybe. I still wore the same clothes. Same size. I was healthy. What shocked me wasn't the comment itself, but how entitled it felt. As if my body were something he had the right to critique and correct. Assessing my physical state objectively, I affirmed my well-being, dismissing his narrative. The entitlement exposed a power imbalance, where his opinions held undue sway over my self-perception. This realization ignited a spark of indignation, fueling a resolve to reclaim agency. It was a turning point, shifting from accommodation to assertion. Mary's advice during our next lunch empowered me further, sharing her own body-shaming experiences. Sophia, my future mentee's precursor in spirit, reminded me of my strength through a coincidental encounter. A dramatic twist, finding diet pills hidden in his drawer suggested his projection of insecurities onto me. I asked him what his solution was. He stared at me blankly. After a long pause, he suggested I try to lose weight. I said no, without hesitation. Then I asked what he planned to do about his feelings. His lack of initiative underscored his passivity, expecting me to bear the burden. My firm refusal asserted boundaries, demanding reciprocity in addressing issues. This standoff revealed fundamental incompatibilities where accountability was unevenly distributed. It was a harbinger of deeper fractures. Elena, his sister, called me secretly, admitting family knowledge of his flaws, adding betrayal from kin. Liam offered a shoulder, but his growing affection complicated matters, creating a potential rebound subplot. The silence stretched into days of Cold War, heightening emotional stakes. He had no answer, no plan, no responsibility, just silence. The void in his response spoke volumes, confirming his unwillingness to invest effort. Silence became a weapon, eroding the foundation we'd built. In that quiet, I internalized a lesson. True partnership requires mutual action, not unilateral demands. Carla's dramatic intervention, showing up unannounced, forced a temporary dialogue that revealed more lies. Dr. Ellis proposed a job that could relocate me, twisting my future options amid the stalemate. A shocking revelation from Alex. Jake had confided in him about Meg weeks earlier, fracturing family ties. So I got dressed, went to sleep, and drove home the next morning like nothing had happened. I didn't cry. I didn't call my friends. I filed it away, telling myself it was his insecurity, not my problem. I didn't know then that this was him laying emotional groundwork to escape without consequences. The drive home was a solitary meditation, processing the encounter without external input. Compartmentalizing allowed me to maintain composure, focusing on self-preservation. Over subsequent days, I reflected on patterns, recognizing manipulation tactics. This insight prepared me for the unraveling ahead. But en route, a flat tire stranded me, leading to a chance meeting with a stranger who shared wisdom on letting go, adding philosophical depth. Rebecca noticed my distraction at work and promoted me, a twist that boosted my independence. Anonymous texts from Vanessa confirmed ongoing patterns, escalating the intrigue. 3 months later, he called. His voice sounded distant, rehearsed, like he was reading from a script. He said he wanted to break up. When I asked why, he gave me the most absurd reason I'd ever heard. The call came unexpectedly, interrupting a routine evening and thrusting me into turmoil. His scripted delivery betrayed premeditation, lacking the emotion of genuine discourse. Probing for clarity, I sensed evasion, hinting at concealed truths. Lena, listening in, urged me to hang up, but I persisted, uncovering layers. Kyle, the rival, later gloated about predicting this, adding academic rivalry drama. A twist. The call was overheard by Meg herself, who confronted him mid-conversation, causing chaos on his end. He told me I didn't know enough about science, that he couldn't talk about his work without dumbing it down, that he needed someone who could keep up with him intellectually. I laughed, genuinely, because it sounded ridiculous. The absurdity of his rationale clashed with our history of engaging conversations, exposing it as a fabrication. Laughter served as a defense, masking the sting of dismissal. This excuse demeaned my intelligence, a low blow that ignited defiance rather than despair. Mary called immediately after, revealing she'd suspected this based on departmental gossip. Claire provided evidence of Jake's plagiarism, linking it to his insecurity. Drama peaked when Derek admitted orchestrating some rumors to help Jake end it cleanly. I asked him to tell me the real reason. He insisted that was it. I felt insulted, but more than that, confused. It didn't match the relationship we'd had. Something was missing. Persistence in seeking truth stemmed from a need for closure, refusing superficial explanations. Confusion morphed into determination, unraveling the facade. This mismatch prompted introspection, questioning what I'd overlooked in our dynamic. Paul texted apologies, hinting at more, encouraging my pursuit. Nina's encouragement led to a secret meeting where she spilled everything. A twist: Jake's advisor was involved in covering up similar incidents, adding institutional corruption. A month later, he came to return something of mine. When I saw him standing there, calm and composed, something inside me snapped. I confronted him directly and demanded the truth. The encounter was charged, his composure contrasting my simmering anger. Demanding honesty became a reclaiming of power, refusing to let lies define the end. In that moment, vulnerability gave way to strength, setting the stage for revelations. Lena burst in, ready to defend, turning it into a group confrontation. Liam arrived coincidentally, his presence inflaming Jake's jealousy. The drama escalated with shouts echoing through the building, drawing neighbors. That's when he admitted it. He'd been seeing one of his undergrad students. 19 years old. His student. He was 26. The words hit me like ice water. The confession shattered illusions, confirming suspicions and evoking visceral betrayal. The age and power disparity amplified the ethical breach, fueling outrage. Processing the revelation, layers of deceit unraveled, recontextualizing past behaviors. Claire revealed she was Meg's roommate, having witnessed the affair firsthand. Elena disowned him temporarily, family bonds fracturing dramatically. A twist: Meg wasn't the only one. Vanessa confirmed a pattern involving multiple students. I screamed at him to leave. My roommate appeared and threatened to throw him off the second-floor balcony if he didn't go immediately. He didn't argue. He left. The intensity of my reaction released pent-up emotions, cathartic in its rawness. My roommate's intervention provided solidarity, underscoring communal support. As he departed, a sense of finality settled, closing a chapter marred by dishonesty. Carla's threat was no bluff. Her own past traumas fueled her protectiveness. Rebecca offered legal advice, hinting at potential harassment claims. Neighbors applauded as he fled, turning the scene into a neighborhood spectacle. The moment the door closed, I started laughing. Not because it was funny, but because everything suddenly made sense. Every comment, every distance, every strange justification. Laughter emerged as relief, piecing together the puzzle of inconsistencies. Clarity brought empowerment, transforming victimhood into agency. This epiphany marked a rebirth, shedding naivety for shrewdness. Lena joined in the laughter, plotting revenge over wine. Mary arrived with evidence files, solidifying alliances. A twist: discovering Jake had forged documents for animals tied into the affair. I remembered meeting Meg at a barbecue. She'd spilled something on her pants, and Jake asked if I could loan her sweats. I couldn't. I was a size 8. She was a size 18. There was nothing wrong with that, but suddenly his earlier comments about my body clicked into place. Recalling the incident, details sharpened, revealing premeditated cruelty. The body shaming was a deflection, engineered to provoke my exit. This insight exposed his cowardice, prioritizing self-preservation over integrity. Claire confessed Meg knew about me all along, adding complicity. Nina revealed Meg had bragged about stealing him, heightening betrayal. Drama: the barbecue host, a mutual friend, had facilitated their meeting knowingly. He wasn't trying to change me. He was trying to push me away. He wanted me to break up with him, so he wouldn't have to admit he was cheating. The cowardice of it stunned me. The cruelty of it hardened something inside me. Recognizing the manipulation tactic deepened my resolve, turning hurt into strategic fury. Hardening equipped me for retribution, channeling energy constructively. This transformation was pivotal, fostering a lifelong commitment to self-advocacy. Paul's guilt led him to provide insider info on Jake's violations. Derek, exposed as an enabler, faced his own fallout in the department. A twist. Jake had planned to blame me for the breakup in family circles, but Elena thwarted it. I emailed his roommates to say goodbye, to thank them for being kind to me. They responded immediately. They told me they'd known about Meg, that they told Jake he had to tell me or they would. That explained everything. The emails provided validation, confirming I wasn't alone in perceiving the injustice. Their disclosures fueled my actions, aligning allies and accountability. This network of support amplified my voice, turning personal grievance into collective action. Nina attached photos of the affair, evidentiary gold. Paul suggested involving authorities earlier, accelerating plans. Drama. Roommates had a falling out over loyalty, fracturing their group. One of them, George, offered to help me get my things. He invited me up for the weekend and suggested we go out. Drink. Have fun. Do all the things Jake thought were a waste of money. I agreed. George's invitation was a lifeline, offering distraction and camaraderie amid chaos. The weekend promised reclamation, subverting Jake's frugality into liberation. Embracing the plan signified defiance, reclaiming joy from betrayal. But George had his own agenda, confessing a crush, adding romantic tension. Lena tagged along, turning it into a girls' trip with vengeance vibes. A twist. En route, we spotted Jake and Meg, leading to a near confrontation. When I arrived, Jake wasn't home. George let me in. While gathering my things, I noticed the animals more carefully than ever before. And I realized something important. Surveying the space anew, ethical lapses became apparent, hidden in plain sight. This observation ignited a plan, blending justice with precision. The realization empowered me, transforming observation into action. Nina pointed out hidden compartments with illegal docks, deepening the plot. Paul joined, providing keys to locked areas, alliance strengthening. Drama. Animals showed signs of neglect, fueling moral outrage. Jake had animals he wasn't legally allowed to have. Endangered species. Animals illegal in the state. Animals he'd taken in from a rescue without filing the required paperwork because he didn't want the government involved. I took photos of everything. Documenting violations meticulously ensured irrefutable evidence, a calculated step toward accountability. Each photo captured not just illegality, but hubris. This act of preservation marked the inception of measured revenge. Claire hacked minor records to confirm sources, adding tech intrigue. Mary advised on reporting channels, her influence pivotal. A twist. Some animals were gifts from Meg's family, tying her in legally. That night, George and I went out. We drank too much. We left. We stumbled back just after midnight. Jake and Meg were in the living room. George practically carried me past them. I stayed in his room. Nothing happened, but we made sure it sounded like something did. The evening was liberating, filled with uninhibited merriment, defying past constraints. Our performance was theatrical, designed to provoke reflection without direct confrontation. This charade served as poetic justice, mirroring Jake's duplicity. Lena orchestrated distractions outside, amplifying the noise. Liam called during, offering escape if needed, complicating emotions. Drama. Meg confronted me mid-act, leading to a heated exchange. The next morning, Jake called me a whore. I ate a donut slowly, told Meg to enjoy my leftovers, and left. His slur revealed desperation, met with my composed retort, underscoring my superiority. The departure was triumphant, leaving echoes of empowerment. This exchange crystallized closure, propelling me forward. Nina filmed the scene discreetly, evidence for later. Paul ejected Jake temporarily, housemate revolt. A twist. Meg revealed she was pregnant, but it was a lie to manipulate, exposed quickly. The next day, I developed the photos and called Fish and Wildlife. I asked how to report illegal animals. They were very interested. George and the other roommate filed complaints with the university. I called Mary and told her everything. Coordinating reports systematically amplified impact, engaging authorities efficiently. Allies' involvement ensured comprehensive scrutiny, dismantling Jake's facade. This collaborative effort highlighted the power of truth in seeking redress. Dr. Ellis led a departmental inquiry, broadening scope. Vanessa joined as a witness, her past adding credibility. Drama. Raids occurred simultaneously, cinematic in execution. Investigations followed quickly, animals confiscated, grants revoked, scholarships pulled, teaching position terminated, fines issued. His PhD was over. The swift consequences validated my actions, unraveling his ambitions methodically. Each penalty served as restitution, restoring balance disrupted by deceit. This fallout reinforced accountability's inevitability. Kyle benefited, gaining Jake's spot. Ironic twist. Family disowned him financially, deepening ruin. A further twist. Meg sued for involvement, but lost, extending legal drama. I moved on. Built a life. Built a career. 20 years passed. Rebuilding involved exploration, from new hobbies to professional pursuits, fostering independence. Time healed wounds, transforming scars into strengths. Over decades, personal and professional milestones accumulated, enriching my narrative. Sophia entered my life, her story mirroring mine, mentorship cycle. Liam became a long-term friend, occasional romance unspoken. Drama, occasional sightings of Jake in poverty, guilt-free schadenfreude. And then one day, I was invited to lecture at a university. Afterward, a man approached me. The lecture was invigorating, sharing insights with eager minds, reaffirming my path. His approach stirred faint recognition, a ghost from the past resurfacing. This encounter bridged eras, testing resolve composure. But he wasn't alone. Derek flanked him, now his subordinate, adding awkwardness. Claire, now faculty, warned me beforehand, alliance enduring. A twist. Jake had reinvented himself under a new name, exposed during the event. It was Jake. Recognition dawned gradually, contrasting his diminished presence with my elevated stature. The moment held poetic irony, underscoring divergent trajectories. Facing him evoked detachment, a testament to growth. Elena appeared, reconciled but critical, family drama resurfacing. Mary hosted the dinner, her presence ensuring control. Shock! Meg was there too, now reformed, seeking forgiveness. I pretended not to recognize him. Feigned ignorance was deliberate, denying him validation or closure. This subtle dismissal wielded power quietly, echoing past lessons. The act preserved my peace, prioritizing self over confrontation. Lena texted encouragement, virtual support. Rebecca celebrated my poise later, professional bond strengthened. Drama. Jake pleaded recognition, humiliating himself publicly. Later that night, at dinner, I mentioned his past. A background check happened. Casual disclosure triggered scrutiny, leveraging networks for justice. The check uncovered truths, ensuring consequences persisted. This step affirmed vigilance in upholding integrity. Dr. Ellis conducted the check, revealing more frauds. Vanessa provided additional dirt, closure for her. A twist, uncovering Jake's ongoing scams, leading to arrests. He didn't get the job. Denial of opportunity closed the loop, a final punctuation on retribution. It validated patience's efficacy in delivering outcomes. The resolution brought quiet satisfaction, free of malice. Sophia learned from it, inspired. Liam proposed friendship to more, but I declined gracefully. Family reconciled with me, not him, ultimate vindication. Sometimes revenge doesn't require rage. It thrives on calculated restraint, allowing time to unveil truths organically. Patience transforms impulsive anger into enduring impact. Yet, rage simmers beneath, a controlled fire fueling justice. Twists teach that allies multiply impact. Characters weave the tapestry, making vengeance collective. Sometimes it just requires patience. Enduring through seasons yields clarity, sharpening strategies for resolution. Time becomes an ally, eroding facades while fortifying resolve. But impatience tempts, yet restraint prevails. Waiting reveals hidden players, like forgotten foes resurfacing. Patience intersects with opportunity, striking decisively. And the truth, unveiling facts dismantles deceptions, restoring equilibrium. Truth's power lies in its unassailable nature, prevailing over fabrications. Truth exposes not just one lie, but webs of them. It empowers the silenced, amplifying voices. Ultimately, truth endures, outlasting all twists and dramas. If this story left you with that slow burn satisfaction, The kind where justice arrives quietly, years later, without a single raised voice. Then you know exactly why some endings are worth the wait. Smash that like button if Emily's patience hit different, and drop a comment below. What's the most satisfying, cold, calculated revenge you've ever witnessed, or maybe even pulled off yourself? No judgment here. We're all a little petty when the moment calls for it. And if you want more real-life tales of people who waited, watched, and then let karma, with a little help, do the heavy lifting, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. The best stories are the ones that take 20 years to pay off. And trust me, we've got plenty more coming. See you in the next one.